What is up,
Hey.
ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Shredding Social. Dude, Joe, you are always devilishly handsome, and today you're looking a little devilishly more than normal with that red going on, brother.
Let's
The
see if I
4th
can
of
get some
July,
color.
I say the 4th of July must have been good to you. Some fun in the sun this weekend?
Yeah, dude, it was awesome. As always, lots of family time, lots of fun with friends and the kids, and obviously a little too much sun.
Dude, okay, I got to ask. This was a good discussion we had. Fireworks or food? More enjoyable, fireworks or food for you?
Fireworks, 100%. It's like,
Yeah?
this is literally, Josh, 4th of July is my absolute favorite holiday of all time. Bar
Better
none.
than Christmas, better than Thanksgiving. Fire. It's 4th of July, huh?
It's all day fun and it's hot, it's summer and then there's nothing better. You? What about you?
I agree. I'm a huge fireworks guy. Like I come from a legit pyrotechnician's background with my dad and myself, like creating fireworks. The smell of gunpowder yesterday. Like if you watch some of my stories, I was literally using one of our cannons. Like I love it. Like I love the 4th of July. Like plus it's our nation's birth. Like it's the celebration of freedom, independence. Like. And with the craziness in our world right now, too, dude, I'm one of those that I'm like, I fly the flag, like I represent, like I support our country. Is everything perfect? No, but like we live. If anybody's been outside of our country and been in other situations, you understand how lucky we are. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. We're not gonna get political on this crap.
Dude, let me say one more thing on that because
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said about that because one of the great things about the 4th of July is it's a day to set aside politics. It's a day to set aside all the differences and enjoy the freedoms that we are so blessed to be. Like, how lucky are we that we won like the genetic lottery to be born into this country?
Dude,
it's incredible.
It's nuts. And the one in billions of chances that you had to actually be born into this, like, and to those who are actually being able to like to immigrate here, like it's just very, very fortunate. And like I said, it is, we set aside our differences and we get to celebrate our freedoms, like the things that whatever you believe in, whatever it's your freedom. So
Josh,
fun day.
Let's talk about this though. So you and I both posted some personal stuff yesterday.
We did indeed.
On our business accounts.
Imagine that.
Why would you do that? Is it important? Should you do that?
No, this is, you and I both discussed this. Like literally, this is, you and I get this question. Being that we do what we do, we play in social media all day long. We help people with this. We guide them in this journey that is creating content. You and I both get bombarded with this question. I literally told you, I got asked this question last week. I answered it on another show. Guys, you have to stop thinking about it versus business and personal. Like Joe, you just said it, dude. Like I posted on my business with personal. Like that's what it is. It is one in the same. Now there's a course of fine lines that you and I will get into today, but it's all one in the same. We're building trust. We're building confidence. We're building relationships. That's how you do it. You don't build that posting about rates and open houses and all this vulgar. Like that's just not it. I watched Joe and like your picture of your son in awe of fireworks was like, oh, like that's one of those things. Again, it just connects with people. It's like, dude, like my son, like my 8-year-old son watching my kids watch fireworks. Like that is what social media is all about. Like, and again, that's a business thing. Even for me, I'm like, man, I just connected with Joe in a different way. Like I connected with his family. That's how you win relationships. That's how you win long-term deals. That's how you win business in the long run, Joe.
I mean, obviously couldn't agree more, but since that's what we're doing, right? But I mean, it's a question that we get asked a lot. And I think it's a super valid question. And I think it comes from a couple different places for different people. Some people are like, hey, should I do this? Is it professional to post about my personal side? But then there are others that are saying like, look, my personal life is pretty wild and it might turn people off from, to doing business with me. And so I think it depends on where you're coming from. If you're coming from a place of, hey, should I be posting more personal content about me, my family, my hobbies? The answer is probably a resounding yes. Keep going.
Yeah, a resounding yes, but keep going.
Resounding yes. If your life is a little bit of a hot mess, or you're just like a little, you push the political spectrum, or you get absolutely trashed every single weekend, you may want to just pull that back a little bit, right? It's good to be yourself, but just remember this. If you are going to post personal content, just do like a little gut check. Like, how would you feel if your grandmother saw this?
Yep.
Right? How would you feel if a 5-year-old kid saw this, right? That's a good gut check to see, is this content that maybe I should or should not be posting?
Okay.
that could mix my business with my
I'm
personal.
so glad you went here. And Dal is in the chat, so she was with me when we saw this post. We were on Instagram over the weekend, and we saw a post with hashtag realtor. We follow a lot of these, hashtag realtor, mortgage, for like pro loan officer, and we saw. And I don't want to offend, because to each their own. To, like you said, if you feel comfortable posting it, post it. Like we don't dissuade you in that, but there was a post from a realtor that was so inappropriate. I wouldn't have showed my kid. Like if my kids would have seen it, I would have been like, oh, like I showed my wife and Dal was sitting there with us as a team. And I was just like, she hashtagged realtor. And if I'm seeing that, if I'm a prospective homeowner or like buyer, I would have been like, no, like this is not somebody like I would feel comfortable working with. Now, there may be others that saw it. There was a niche few that's like, wow, this person, like, I want to work with them because of that. But on that, what you just said, it is very discretionary, Joe. If you don't feel comfortable with your kids seeing it or your grandma seeing it, you probably should not post it. Even though you're with the guys, you're with the girls, you're having fun. It's like, like, is this something that you want others to see? And if you totally feel good about it, saying yes. Now, I want to talk to this point, Joe, too, because I've been speaking. I spoke a couple times in the last couple of months at different events, working with different lenders, working with different from brokers to retail banks, and they have actually cracked down on this, saying, hey, personal contents, like that's one of those things that if you are, putting into jeopardy the image of their lender, like that might be something that's scrutinized as well. What are your thoughts there?
Dude, well, I think Dal, thanks for this comment right here. And people got to remember, the internet never forgets.
The internet never forgets.
I love that, because it is so true. It's the internet never forgets, and your company never forgets. And so I think, Josh, you bring up a really good point, that in today's era of never forgetting and the digital trail of everything you do, I mean, we've seen this in our industry before. People flying off the rails and losing their jobs and creating major drama. And like, you don't want to have your name in the front page of a mortgage outlet or a real estate outlet for something that you said or did online. Like, no. That's unless it's a good thing, right? Like, but you don't want to be that person that like gets caught being just silly about something that you probably shouldn't have done.
Dude, and that's the craziness of what you just said, is it may even be so seamless, and it may not even be like, but posting stuff to like, you've got to be very, very cautious of this. Like, this is one of those things, John Soroka, so true. It is super true. This is one of those things that you don't want to end up on the wrong side of it. And it is very, very easy. You and I have both seen from personal friends, things that were said. And again, you have to be careful of this, because we don't want to see any of our good friends that are surrounding us end up on the wrong side of this. So Joe, what you just said, take a quick gut check. If you're like, hey, am I about to post this? If I post it, could it have negative ramifications? Could it actually affect myself, the people around me, the company that I work for? And it should be that simple. Like, it literally should. And if you're one of those on the right side or the far left or right side, I'm like, well, I'm going to post what I want, do it. But hey, just know that the ramifications that are coming, like, just, you gotta be cautious with it.
You're right, Josh. Back to the 4th of July. One of our greatest freedoms in this country is the freedom to say whatever you want, right? We have the freedom of speech. But you have the freedom of speech to say what you want, but also the freedom to make an idiot of yourself and to ruin your business. Yeah. So while you do have the right to say whatever you want, you should use that within reason. And, again, I think the one thing that I think really it comes down to is social media, and your social media presence is part of your job. Bingo. You are marketing yourself. You're building a brand for yourself. Every single post builds a story and a caricature of who you are as a holistic individual. And so when you are posting that the great stuff about you and your family and your hobbies and things like that, it should give a picture of what you want to be, right? And what you want to portray and how you want to attract people to work with you, right?
100%.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And, and I think kind of transitioning here out of like, should you say this, to how much should you say about yourself versus your business, metrics, right? So if you're a mortgage lender and you want to post a lot about mortgage rates or educational content, but you also want to post stuff about yourself. Josh, what would you say is kind of that good? Is there a magic formula in your perspective for how much you should be posting about different things?
Yes, I'm so glad. And I talk about this a lot. I use the 7-to-1 rule. Like I'm 7-to-1, 7 pieces of personal content to 1 business. And when I say business, it's not like, hey, check out rates today or look what rates are doing. You should never talk about rates. If you're talking about programs, because I got called out on this, and I'll eat crow for a second. If you're niching in particular, like if you're doing like FHA 203K loans, or if you're doing reverse mortgages, or if you're doing something like where you are niching, if you're focused on a very specific audience, then sure, you can mention something like that, but it shouldn't be like, oh, like let's take a look and deep dive into rates, unless that's your thing. And I will say, like, if you guys follow, of course, I'm gonna freaking forget Min Win over on Instagram. Min does a great job. He talks about rates. He does a phenomenal job talking about rates.
What's a mortgage? Where are you?
What's a mortgage? There, like we talk about him a lot. He does a great job. His name is Min, right? Did I mess that up? It is Min.
I honestly don't know.
Now,
he's just at what's a mortgage to me.
I gotta look it up while we're
looking for a loan. I would be talking to him because he is obviously super knowledgeable.
I hear Dal in the other room. Of course, it's Min. I'm like, he's a friend of mine. Did I mess that up? It's totally Min. It's Min Win. I was totally 100% right. So Min does a great job, and I will tell people, because people actually call me out. They're like, well, what about Min? Or what about what's the guy over on TikTok? Kyle. Does a great job with this too. He talks about rates and he talks about credit scores. If that's your thing, dive into that. Most of us, though, we talk about it far too often. If you go look at theirs, like most of them, they tie in some business or some personal content to business. But my rule of this, Joe, 7-to-1, 7 pieces of personal to every once in a while. And you and I have talked about this. Jab, 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 right hook by Gary Vaynerchuk. If you really want to know how to do this, read that book. It's not on Audible. It's a very good read. And it talks about, throwing that jab, learning your audience to finally throw that right hook to connect with them. Great book. Awesome. But what about you? What are your thoughts on it? I mean,
dude, I don't have a magic formula for it, but I think that posting is better than not posting.
Yeah.
And so if what you're comfortable with posting is more, content about education or products and services, then do that. Just don't expect the same engagement that you're going to get from your personalized content. And okay, this is great. You have a brand, whether you like it or not, so why not make it a good one? John, great advice, my guy. And John's he's one of those guys that is a brand master. Like that, this guy knows how to work on your personal and your company brand. So kudos to you, John. Thanks for being part of this conversation today. But like, look, I see a lot of people be very successful in all ranges of the cadence of personal versus business. But I think the thing that sets most of those people who are successful getting leads and new referral partnerships online versus the ones that are not are the ones that are just posting, right?
Consistent.
If you can actually be consistent, whatever you can be consistent on, you should be doing that. That's the number one rule, in my opinion.
I was literally going to say, all of this aside, that's how to end this and wrap this entire thing up. Consistency. Like that will trump everything else. To your point, what you just said, Joe, like business, personal, whatever it is, if you're showing up consistently in front of your community, and I don't even like to use the word audience. I actually changed this. I had a huge revelation, if you will, or kind of this huge insight about 2 months ago. And I stopped using the word audience because, and I totally came up with this. Is I like to say I stole it from somebody, but I don't know who I stole it from. But the audience is people you talk to or talk at. Your community is people you talk with, and that's it. You want to be talking with them. You want to be like, and that's the content you're putting out. And again, if you're creating conversation with your community, you're going to win all day long. Create it consistently, Joe. That's it. There's no winning formula.
Keep going. That's it.
Do it. Be
consistent. Keep posting.
That's it. And if you guys do, you're going to get out there. People are going to recognize you. You're going to become the John Sorokas of the world. And people are going to be like, oh, he's that guy. He's that local celebrity. So,
and think about your grandmother.
And think about your grandmother. Guys, don't post cringeworthy content. Joe, we should start having the cringeworthy. We probably can't do that, but we probably should. We could come up every week. If you don't watch the Shred Weekly, I come up with great examples, but I should start doing like the cringeworthy because there are so many bad examples. Don't be that bad example. Don't end up on the cringeworthy. All right, guys. Joe, you're awesome. Get feeling better with that sunburn, brother. And guys, make sure you tune in every single week. On Tuesdays, Joe and I will come to you live talking about some of the things. And if you want a topic, send it to Joe and I, and we'll discuss it right on here on Trading Social. Appreciate you. Love you. See you later, guys.